What's up, guys, and welcome to my reality. I'm Jeff. How's it going? Today, I need to talk to you guys about something wicked serious. Really serious. No, for real. I'm talking about your first time at Halloween Horror Nights. This video goes out specifically to my friends Thorson TV and Mike, his Regeneration 213. This is going to be their first year at Halloween Horror Nights, and I feel personally responsible for making sure that they have the best time ever. Alright, my first tip for having the most epic Halloween Horror Nights first time ever: get into the holding pens. Essentially, the park switches over from the daytime to the nighttime event. But in between that time, if you're an annual pass holder or you have a ticket to the daytime park, you can actually stay inside the park as they're switching over. There are some great areas near Finnegan's, and I think even last year they had a spot in the London waterfront by Diagon Alley. The best part of being in those is that you get basically right in to the first house. Last year was actually my first time using those holding queues. Not only did I meet some awesome friends, I also got to go into Alien vs. Predator, and I felt like I was one of the first few people that went in there. That was a great experience, and I continued that for the rest of the event. During Halloween Horror Nights 24, not once did I wait outside and come into the event. It was the holding pen all the time, and I have to say that was one of the main reasons for me HHN 24 was the best experience. Maybe not some of the best houses for me, but definitely the best experience. My second tip for having the most epic Halloween Horror Nights first time ever: do as much as you can in the early hours. This is prime time. In the early hours, the event has not kicked into high gear yet. There's still going to be people outside waiting to get in because of security, all those different things. If you are in those holding pens and in the park ready to go, don't stop. Repeat, don't stop. Don't stop to eat then. Don't stop to get your drinks then. Don't stop to buy your souvenirs then. Just try to do as much as you can in a short amount of time possible. See, the thing is that even if you have an express pass, which I'll get to that later, the thing is, during those times, if you make the most of those early hours and get through as many houses as possible, then you can take a break, enjoy a nice meal with friends, get your drink on, and then, if you have the energy, which you should be caffeinating, Anna, I know you'll have no problem with that, you can go around and do everything a second time, and that's even if you don't have Express Pass. I'll admit, last year was my first year doing that too. Essentially, I've done Halloween Horror Nights many times, and I've done it many times the wrong way. So last year was the first time that I felt like I did it the right way. As you may have seen from some other videos, I was with Brittany, Kyle, and Jordan, and then Liz one of the nights, going through the houses. I couldn't believe it. Even waiting in the longest lines, Walking Dead anyone, even waiting in the longest lines, we still got through so many houses in one night. I had an express pass and I separated for a little bit to kind of go do things quickly over again. But I could have stayed with them and gotten just as many houses done. I was so surprised. But the reason we did that is we made the most of our early hours. Do that and you'll be set to have a great first time. My third tip for having the most epic Halloween Horror Nights first time ever: while they're optional, I personally recommend getting express passes. Reason for this being, especially for Tim and Anna and for Mike, you guys are far away. You're not Central Floridians where you can just go to the park anytime for a few weeks. As a result, you want to be able to see as much as possible in as little time as possible. Express passes will help you do that. But, warning, warning, you will be judged if you use the express passes on any wait less than 20 minutes. Personally, I've even gotten comfortable with the half an hour threshold. You kind of understand your comfort level depending on how many times you'll be attending, etc., what time of year you're attending. Do not be that person who, if you're in the holding pen, trying to get everything done early, that you use your express pass for what would be less than a 5-minute wait. I know Brittany, Kyle, Jordan, and myself were judging some people super hardcore because of doing that. Does it really make that much of a difference between the 5 minutes when you have a pass that you can only use one time that night? Why would you do that? Don't be those guys. Get the express passes, but don't be those guys. The way that it looks is kind of what I alluded to before. Do as much as you can the first time around in the early hours. Then go ahead and hit up the express passes. Get in those express lines, do as much as you can. Try to get a second run through, especially through your favorite houses. Here's tip number 4 for having the most epic Halloween Horror Nights first time ever. You've gotten into the holding pen. You've done as many houses as possible in the early hours of the event. You've got your express passes. You know what this buys you? Time. You know what you should do with that time? Hang out in scare zones. Here's why. Me personally, I really don't get all that scared in the houses. Probably the best scare I ever had was George Washington coming at me with an axe in HR Blood and Guts Holidays of Horror. That was one of the few times that I felt truly scared in a house. But I don't go there to get scared, and I recognize that. But I love watching others get scared. And where can you do that the best? The scare zones. So if you have the express pass, if you're doing everything early, you have plenty of time to just chill, have a drink, hang out in some of the scare zones. I love that part of the event because you have the fog, you have the characters who are working their butts off, you have sometimes you have great sets. I think we're in for a year where we'll have great sets again, thankfully. There's just so much to see that if you just walk through treating the scare zones as like a tunnel to get from one place to another, you are totally missing out on the point of the scare zones. The scare zones are just great to just take in what is the essence of the event. There's so many times because I didn't do the event right, I felt like, oh, I don't have time to hang out in scare zones. I've got houses to go in and lines to wait on. You're really gonna cut yourself short. Especially, there's sometimes you can't get great videos of the scare zones because it's too dark. So you can't rely on just looking back at what others have done. You really need to experience it for yourself. Especially because if you're so engrossed in what's happening in the scare zone, you actually can get distracted enough where characters will start to target you. My recommendation, and I know Anna, Tim, Mike, I know you've all watched these, but some of my personal favorite scare zone watching moments come from watching Liz's videos, Disco Lizita. If you really want to see some epic footage of scare zones past, check out her channel. She's the best at just hanging out there and capturing the essence of what the scare zones are and what makes Halloween Horror Nights so special. Here's my 5th and final tip for having the most epic Halloween Horror Nights first time ever. I've kind of talked about it already in some of the other points, but I want to hit on this hard right now for you. Do the houses multiple times. In the past, when I've gone to the event, I've only attended one night. for the first 2 years that I went. Third year that I went 2 nights. And this past year, I went 3. And you know what? Even though I went in some of my favorite houses multiple times, it still was not enough. If this is your first time going to Halloween Horror Nights, you are in for eye candy in these houses. And if you're someone that gets scared, you're not going to see it all the time because you're so worried about who's going to come out of where and how they're going to scare you and what's the new way that they're going to try to sneak up on you. You have to do the houses multiple times because once you get a little bit comfortable with the flow of the house, you can feel like you can look around a little bit more and notice the details. Everyone that's a die-hard Halloween Horror Nights fan knows that A&D puts their hearts into this event. There's so many details, so many inside jokes, so many just puns and humor that if you are just flying through the house and not there to appreciate anything, you will miss out. Also, you kind of miss out on the opportunity to, as much as possible, build a relationship with the cast. If I already have like a stupid smile coming on, I think probably Brittany, Kyle, and Jordan know exactly what's going through my mind right now. Meat! Oh dear. Roanoke, Cannibal Colony, that cast last year, I've never felt like I bonded to a Halloween Horror Nights cast more than that. And the reason for that is that we went through that house multiple times. I think our final house count together going through had to be at least 7, 8 times. Wait times are usually short. We always had a good time. We found our way in there multiple times per night. It was awesome. Now, and here's one of the Halloween Horror Nights distinctives that you need to know. There are actually 2 casts for each house. And depending on where they are in their shift, where they are in the event, how comfortable they are with their role, just different casts have different feelings. We certainly experienced that some casts just interacted with us a heck of a lot more than other casts. Again, this is something I never experienced up until last year. So in my opinion, last year was the first time that I ever truly experienced Halloween Horror Nights. And Anna, Tim, and Mike, I want you guys to have the same exact experience. And even if you aren't Anna, Tim, or Mike, I'm so excited that you get to experience Halloween Horror Nights for the first time this year. This is awesome. I wish I could go back to the first time I went to Halloween Horror Nights. One of the most exciting times of my life. I think it was one of the first times that I appreciated, like, wow, I'm a Floridian. I can do this stuff so easily. I love it. I love it. And just welcome to the family, ultimately. I hope you have a wonderful time. Make sure to give this video a like if you felt like you learned something that's going to help you have the most epic Halloween Horror Nights first time ever. And wait a minute, don't forget to subscribe because there's plenty more Halloween Horror Nights content coming your way. Well, I'm Jeff. It's time to go. Salut mes amis. See you next time.